Florida at the Art Center, and I want to welcome you to our second creativity break. So if you're at home and looking for things to do, we are putting together some things with art projects with things that you probably have around the house. And even though I've got a big studio full of materials, I've purposely tried to just use materials that I found outside of my studio. And it's made me a little more creative because I got to think a little more creatively. So what we're going to do today, this is a pin prick picture. And we're going to start with, I went through a magazine and I found a picture that I really liked. And I made sure that the picture wasn't too, this one's pretty big, probably bigger than what you'll want to work with, but it was just so adorable, I couldn't resist. So what I'm going to do, I have my picture, and it doesn't matter what's around it. You don't want to cut it out or anything, just keep it on the page. I have a piece of heavier paper. So this is like cardstock. You could use a thin cardboard. This is if I was going to do a smaller one, this was actually a little piece of stuff that was around with some packaging on something that I bought recently. And I think I might do a small one on this, but for the demo, I'm going to use this little bit bigger piece of paper. You know, when I was growing up, even though I drew all the time, I didn't have a lot of paper to work with, and so I became kind of a master at scrounging paper. So I just went through this magazine and found this cute kitty picture, so that's what I'm going to use. So my materials, I've got some clips that I'm going to use. You could use paper clips. You know, when we do this at the Art Center, we just glue the picture down onto the paper. But I wanted to show some alternatives just in case you didn't have glue stick at the house, because that's not something that everybody keeps around. So the other thing I had is a piece of cardboard, and this is corrugated cardboard, the kind that has the little corrugations running through, because we're going to poke into this and we want to give it just a little bit of cushion so that we can make a nice poke. And I'm doing this on my cutting mat. If you're doing it at home, put something like a cutting board or something that's going to protect the table or the countertop on your surface underneath this. Even though it probably won't go through, you just want to make sure. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get these so that they're all kind of the same length so that I can clip them together. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ruler and a box knife to do that. If you haven't used one of these utility knives before, be very, very careful. I always cut in multiple thin cuts instead of trying to go through everything at once. And I always retract the blade when I'm done. I could have cut that with a pair of scissors. It just is a little, this heavier cardboard is a little bit, you know, it's just a little tough to, well, it's not that tough. Cut with a pair of scissors, so I guess I could have done that as well. So anyway, so I'm going to take this, I'm going to make sure that my kitty is kind of in the middle of my cardboard, and I'm just going to clip it all together. So I'm using these binder clips. Like I said, you could use whatever you need to kind of connect this, and you can see I'm going to clip this together. I don't want to get my clip where the image is. Okay. So now I'm pretty good. And what you can do, because these like to stick up a little bit, you know, you can flip them down like this. See, it might be in the way of that ear. Okay. So now I'm all ready to go. So now I need a poker. And what I usually use with the kids on this is a push pin. One of those, not a thumbtack that has the smooth round head on it, but a push pin that has the little handle on it. But weirdly enough, I could not find a push pin around the house. And so I'm going to improvise. One of the things that I did, I took a needle and I took some painter's tape, and I'm just going to roll this up and make myself a little handle. And that'll work really nicely. You want to, So that's something to be careful about. So maybe when I tape it, I should make sure and put a little, let's see, we'll get creative here so that we have a safe tool. So I'm gonna take that, and I'll take another little piece of tape here. Because that's just the kind of thing that I would do, is get going on that and then have that slip through and poke my finger. And if you think the pointy side of these needles hurt when you cut yourself, when you poke it in, the fat side really hurts. So anyway, so make sure you have a safe tool. The other thing, and actually what I'm going to use, I had a button and I just pulled this up a little bit, and I think that's going to work just right. So the key to making these look really nice is to make your pokes as uniform as possible. And so they go down the same distance, and they, stick that out a little bit so you can see better. And they're the same distance apart. So I'm going to start, so I'm poking, poking, poking. And you can see that I am trying to be very careful, trying to make it as uniform as I can. And this takes a while. This is not something where you just poke, 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 poke. For one thing, your hand gets tired. I've noticed when we do this in class, that is just something that we just kind of do very, very leisurely, and we visit and talk while we do it. So I'm going to go around, and the first thing I'm going to do is go around the outside edge of my image. And I'm going to speed up the video so that you don't have to watch the whole boring thing. All right, so on the fuzzy parts, you kind of have to guess a little bit. I really wasn't paying attention, and my cat's going to have this little tiny chin, but that's okay. Now, the next thing after I go around the outside edge, I'm going to find all of the really important lines in the image. So around the eyes, this nose, and the mouth. So I'll do those next. All right, so you can see that I was pretty, was not really paying attention super well in terms of getting my dots really uniform. Really what, if you get them too close together, then your paper might rip. So you don't want them too close, but you don't want them too far away either. So I'm going to go in and just make a couple extra where it looks like maybe I could use them. Okay. So I did the eyes and the nose, and I think what I might do, because these whiskers are pretty important to this cat, so I'll do the whiskers too. Okay, so you can see that I didn't do every single whisker. I just did a few to be representative. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to do on that. So let's see what it looks like. It's kind of cool when you, I don't know if you're catching that in the kind of, this cat's got kind of a scary look to her. All right. All right, so this is the side that, and I love that. For some reason, there's something about that that I just really, really enjoy. Except my cat looks a little sad, so I might go in and yeah, see, just that little bit makes a difference. I should have done it on the other side and then I could have punched it, but I'm just gonna do a little drawing on here just to, okay. So I hope you have fun with that. If you have any questions, send me an email. Send me an email with a picture of your drawing, or you can just post it to the comments when we put it up on our Facebook page, and we'll put those on our Facebook as well. And I'm just going to write my first name on here. And there you go. Thanks so much for watching.